eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley joins us now with more on what's happening at the state capitol. And Sean, I understand it's been so busy, your skin has not seen daylight since Sunday. Is it Sunday?
Since Sunday, that's correct. It's been a busy week at the Capitol. This was committee deadline week. Bills had to be heard in a committee in their chamber of origin. As you'll recall, back in January and at the start of the session in February, we talked about the fact that more than 3,200 pieces of legislation were available for consideration. They've spent the last month whittling those down to a more manageable number, which they will begin to hear on the floor on Monday. They will then have 2 weeks until March 15th to get those bills across the floor if they're going to remain alive for this legislative session. They heard a lot of bills, they killed a lot of bills, and now we move forward.
I understand a couple of bills involving tax credits for educational scholarships are rumbling around. What's going on with those?
Yes, this is a program that was begun several years ago, and it allows individuals and businesses to make donations to scholarship granting organizations and receive a tax credit for those. There was a cap on how much money could be contributed in total to these organizations, and they were looking at increasing that cap because there has been a pressing need for additional scholarships. As Senator Julie Daniels pointed out in the Senate consideration, the programs are the victim of their own success. They have been successful. More people are wanting scholarships and they need more money in order to fund those. But similar bills in the House and the Senate failed to pass. So the caps will remain where they are for the present time.
And finally, there's some talk of a state question to change the threshold by which taxes can be increased. Can you tell us a little about that?
You bet. As you know, it takes a three-fourths vote in each chamber of the legislature to increase a tax, and that has been a roadblock for efforts to raise revenue. Lawmakers point out that many of the voters today, the newer voters, even some members of the legislature, didn't get to vote on that original state question back in 1992 because they were too young. Now they want voters to re-examine that, perhaps lower it to 60% or to a 2/3. It will be later in the session before we see what that final number is, but I would not be surprised if that isn't on the November ballot.
All right, Sean, with eCapitol, I hope you get some rest this weekend, and thank you for being with us.
You're very welcome.